SHOT Show 2025 just delivered some incredible updates to the iconic 1911 and 2011 platforms. And it's not just about tradition anymore. These pistols are blending nostalgia with cutting-edge features. If you're a prepper looking for reliable firepower, or just someone who appreciates finely tuned firearms, there's something in this lineup just for you. In this video, we'll talk about 7 of the newest double-stack 1911s, aka 2011s, unveiled at day 1 of SHOT Show 2025. We'll be covering everything from budget-friendly options all the way to premium collector pieces. So grab your coffee, or your range bag, and let's dive into what makes these handguns worth a second look. Springfield Prodigy 3.5-inch Compact. Springfield Armory kicked off their Prodigy line with full-size models, and now they've introduced a 3.5-inch compact version for shooters who want something easier to carry concealed. It's a 9mm double stack with 15+1 capacity, built on a polymer grip module that mates to a 7075 T6 aluminum frame. The total weight sits just under 29 ounces, so while it may not be a feather, it's lighter than many steel-frame 2011s on the market. Springfield's agency optic system makes it a cinch to mount your favorite red dot, and taller iron sights co-witness nicely, ensuring that you have backups if your dot fails. You'll find a single-action trigger that breaks around 5 pounds as well. That's heavier than some custom 1911 triggers, but you can still shoot accurately and consistently. Range reports indicate that it handles a steady diet of various loads without jamming, which is important if you're counting on it for home defense and shit hits the fan scenarios. Accuracy remains solid at typical engagement distances, which is often where a compact 2011 does its best work. The Prodigy 3.5-inch might not wow you with ultra-premium finishing, but it sells for around $1,500. That's much lower than many high-end competitors, so it appeals to newcomers who want to explore the double-stack 1911 concept without committing a huge amount of cash. The grip can still feel a bit chunky if you have smaller hands though, so some folks adapt by adjusting their grip or adding different grip panels, though the polymer module doesn't lend itself to swapping panels in the same way a traditional 1911 might. The trade-off is capacity, which is valuable if you're worried about multiple threats or you just like the peace of mind that more rounds provide. If you're new to 2011s and you want a compact that balances size and performance, the Prodigy 3.5-inch is worth a test run. Now we're going to take a second to remind you to like, subscribe, and to share the hell out of this video. Your views, likes, and subscriptions are the reason our team can bring you human-created content for the weapon enthusiast, homesteader, prepper, and also just to the everyday guy looking to get prepared. Without you, we couldn't do what we do. So to those of you who have already subbed, and to those of you who are about to do just that, thank you. Alchemy Fat Man. If you haven't heard of Alchemy Custom Weaponry before, they're tied to Cabot Guns, a company that made a pair of 1911s from a meteorite and sold it for $45 million. These guys don't sell cheap stuff. Alchemy's Fat Man is a limited-run double-stack 45 auto that nods to the World War II era M1911A1. Only 25 are rolling out at first, each with a 5-inch match-grade barrel for impressive accuracy. A double-stack magazine holding 11+1 or 13+1 rounds in 45 ACP is a treat for anyone who wants more capacity without jumping down to 9mm. Alchemy didn't just slap together a retro design. They paired the old GI look with modern touches, like Harrison-designed retro sights, a gold bead up front, and a diamond-like carbon finish for added durability. The gunsmiths fit each pistol by hand, ensuring smooth slide-to-frame contact and a crisp 3.5 to 4-pound trigger pull. That level of detail isn't just for show, it's meant to give you a reliable shooter with a custom feel. The Fat Man's hefty frame and weight help soak up recoil, so rapid-fire drills stay manageable. That weight also makes it a bit cumbersome for concealed carry, so it's best for home defense or range time. If you're a serious 45 ACP fan, you'll enjoy how it balances in the hand and how the recoil impulse stays tame. The price is tough to swallow, around $4,500, but that's the cost of a limited edition piece that merges nostalgia with higher capacity performance. It's definitely not for everyone, don't get me wrong, but collectors and dedicated shooters might be drawn to its blend of history and cutting-edge craftsmanship. Fusion Firearms Ermox XP Pro 2011. Fusion Firearms was once a custom 1911 builder, but they've been importing stuff from Turkish gun manufacturers recently. One such manufacturer is called Ermox. These are the same guys that built the XP Pro, notable for taking Glock 17 magazines. That's a huge deal considering the high cost of proprietary 2011 mags. The XP Pro also competes with other Glock Mag 2011s like the Stealth Arms Platypus, but it's priced around $1,099, which is about half of the cost of some alternatives. This makes it attractive if you're looking to join the 2011 crowd without dropping a ton of cash. It has a tri-top slide with vent cuts that aren't just for show. They also make it easier to rack under stress. You get Novak-compatible combat sights on a removable optics plate so you can add a red dot if that's your thing. The thumb safety is also ambidextrous, and the steel trigger feels crisp. The chain-link aluminum grip helps you hold tight during recoil. It's a larger pistol, so it won't be everybody's first choice for concealed carry, though it can shine as a home defense pistol or a dedicated range tool. Some folks wonder if the Turkish connection hurts the overall quality, but Fusion Firearms has a solid background in custom 1911s, which they definitely apply here. It just doesn't feel like a cheap knockoff. The main selling point is the mix of 1911 ergonomics with the widespread availability of Glock mags. If you already have a Glock or you just appreciate how easy it is to find those magazines, especially in a the end of the world as we know it scenario, this pistol can be a cost-effective way to arm yourself and your family members. It may not carry the same prestige as a Staccato or Wilson Combat, but it offers plenty of bang for the buck without you having to spend a month's pay. You could be a prepper looking for a shit-hits-the-fan sidearm or just someone who loves tinkering. Regardless, the XP Pro deserves a closer look. Staccato HD P4. Staccato used to be known as STI, a gun maker that only catered to competition shooters, but since they changed their company name in 2020, they've been building 2011s for both the civilian defense carry and law enforcement markets. Their new for 2025 HD P4 adds a twist: Glock magazine compatibility. Yep, just like the Ermox XP Pro I mentioned just then, 2011s accepting Glock mags are becoming a thing. This design choice appeals to folks who love Staccato's trigger and build quality but need more practical magazine options. The HD P4's 4-inch fluted barrel helps reduce weight and looks striking when you peer through the ejection port. The controls are fully ambidextrous, including the safety, slide lock, and a reversible magazine release, so lefties aren't forced to adapt. Staccato is known for smooth shooting, and the HD P4 doesn't disappoint. The recoil system is heavily tuned for the quickest follow-up shots, and the short and crisp trigger break is in line with the brand's other pistols. And if you're interested in red dots, the slide cut sits your red dot low enough for co-witnessing with taller sights. It's handy if you're training for worst-case scenarios where your optic might fail, or if you want to practice with irons alongside your dot. The overall handling is comfortable, though the frame might still be a bit wide for smaller hands, which is a common trait among double-stack 1911s. MSRP is also a little steep at $2,499, but the performance, reliability, and Glock mag compatibility might help justify the cost. It's one of those versatile pistols that you can run hard at the range, carry for personal defense if you're up for the size, or trust in a more tactical setting. Live Free Armory Apollo 11 Compact. Live Free Armory only started making the rounds online in 2023, but they've become really popular with the Apollo 11 series by keeping prices low for their 2011 pistols. The compact version of their original full-size Apollo 11 shrinks it down into a relatively concealable 4.15-inch barrel format, but it still holds 17+1 rounds of 9mm. That's impressive capacity in a smaller footprint, especially for a pistol listed at about $1,000. People often worry about cheap guns being unreliable, of course, but the Apollo 11 line has been surprisingly solid during tests. The trigger typically settles around 3.5 pounds after a short break-in, so it's not a gritty mess. Live Free Armory uses a 3D printed grip module, which helps keep the cost down. But the big question for a lot of folks is whether it can handle defensive ammo reliably, since there have been reports of hiccups with certain hollow points. So testing different loads is always wise. If hollow points prove unreliable, I'd recommend non-expanding solids like Lehigh's Extreme Defense lineup. Aside from that, the Apollo 11 Compact has proven accurate enough for competitions, and its manageable recoil and decent ergonomics let you shoot comfortably. It's not the smallest carry option, since it's still a double-stack 1911 with a robust steel frame, so you'll probably notice the weight on your belt, but that also does help with recoil management. Live Free Armory backs it with a lifetime warranty, which is reassuring if you're trying to save money while still wanting a pistol that's ready for real-world use. EAA Gearsan Witness 2311 Match S. EAA has been importing stuff from Turkish gun maker Gearsan for a while now, and the Witness 2311 Match S is their latest crack at a double-stack 1911 style design. It's a 9mm that ships with 17 and 20-round magazines, built on a steel frame finished in tungsten gray. A bushingless bull barrel boosts accuracy, and it arrives optics ready if you want to drop a red dot on it. The grip texture and flared magwell help you hold tight during fast strings and make reloads simpler. The trigger lands in the 4 to 4.6 pound range, acceptable for most range or competition uses, though it's not on par with high-end custom triggers. At around $989 MSRP, it appeals to shooters on a budget who still want the 2011 experience, especially if you plan to dip into competitive shooting without spending a fortune. Now, takedown can be a little more complicated than what you'd find on a striker fire pistol, since it uses a pin to release the recoil spring tension. That being said, you'll probably get the hang of it after a few tries. Some folks might also be turned off by the all-steel design because of the extra weight, but that heft actually helps control recoil if you're shooting quickly. The Witness 2311 Match S might not be as refined as the more expensive double stacks, yet its affordability and feature set give it plenty of appeal if you're craving something that offers higher capacity and respectable performance. Wilson Combat Division 77 Project 1. Wilson Combat's name carries weight among those who appreciate high-end 1911s, and their Division 77 Project 1 is a double-stack 9mm that mixes the classic platform with forward-thinking engineering. It features an optic pin system that lets you swap between different red dot footprints like RMR, RMSC, or Delta Point Pro without having to shift the optic's location. That means that you keep the optic mounted at the rear and leave space for easy press checks at the front of the slide. They also integrated a compensator and added slide ports to help manage muzzle flip. The RPG guide rod is another innovation. Instead of fussing with a reverse plug, you just tilt the rod out to strip the pistol. Moving on to the magazine, it holds 18 rounds, and Wilson Combat gave the base pad some grooves so you can yank it free if there's a jam. A nicely beveled magwell tends to speed up reloads. Like many Wilson pistols, it has a crisp, flat-faced trigger, a PVD coating on key components, and track texturing that helps you keep a strong hold. But none of this comes cheap. You can expect the Project 1 to cost around $4,000, which is out of reach for many, but it might feel worth it if you love the idea of blending old-school 1911 flair with upgrades that make it more in line with modern stuff. And that's a wrap. So which of these 2011s caught your eye? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow gun enthusiasts, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and as always, this is Threat to Survival. Prepare today, thrive tomorrow. Embrace the threat to survival.